Welcome and thank you for joining me here again on Film Pro Productivity. Each week I introduce concepts that film professionals and other creatives can use to make life easier and avoid creative burnout. I also present time management and lifestyle hacks for a more focused, effective and happy life. My name is Carter Ferguson and this is episode 18, Protecting Your Mental Energy. Today I'm going to be talking about mental energy and why, above all things, it must be protected. I'll talk about what it is, how to ensure it isn't wasted, and the huge difference that protecting it will make to your life. But last week I took on the rather involved topic of drive and really went in depth to talk about what it was and how to find it. For those of you that have checked it out already, I really hope that it's been useful. Now, I really agonise over the topics which I bring you here and even change the topic altogether if I feel that it isn't working. I measure the strength of an episode's potential in the prep period, and as a solo podcaster that means that I apply the lessons to my own life and work and only really bring you things which I personally find to be impactful on it. In episode 2, check it out if you haven't heard it already, I covered the topic of saying no, as in my life, adopting that word and using it often has meant that I've been able to take back control. I use it as kind of a shield. I let requests which will not further my goals or which are not in alignment with my values bounce off of it so that I can say yes to the things that really matter. It's a simple premise, but it will really make a monumental difference to your life if you give it a try. And the subject that I am talking about today, mental energy and how you must protect it, or perhaps even why you must protect it, is very closely linked to it. One of my all-time favourite Twitter users is a guy called Isaiah Hankel, and in his awesome book, The Science of Intelligent Achievement, he says that mental energy is the world's hottest commodity. People are going to try and steal it, drain it, and suck it up every second that you're awake, yet very few of us protect it. Few of us know how. And if it wasn't for Isaiah and his hashtag of hard talk on Twitter, I wouldn't have been able to put a name to this topic at all. He clarified my own opinion, and I am eternally grateful to him for that. I'm a total fanboy of Isaiah Hankel's, and we will be looking at what he says about it all shortly. Now, I've been working professionally in film and TV for 24 years now, and during 18 of them, I was caught up in what I will call a freelancer fear of letting people down or missing out on opportunity, of not being able to pay my bills because I didn't get enough work. And that fear bred a sort of desperation-led drive to always be reliable, to over-deliver and to take not only every single paid job that came along, but also to help everyone else, no matter the cost to my own life or savings or time. I had this deep-set worry, you see, that my not being there and ready and willing would mean that I would let someone down. In the short films that I was making, I covered the ass of anyone who was falling behind and tried to anticipate the problems of each and every department because I worried that in the low-budget world that I was creating these films, that I was somehow going to be seen as unhelpful or as taking advantage of the people that had volunteered their time to work with me on it. And on those films, it really genuinely was always my own job, that of director, that I came to prepare last. And in the end, in day-to-day life as well as professionally, I stretched myself so thin that eventually I snapped. And I've gone on about this before and I don't want to sound like some sort of martyr, but I snapped because I just never protected my mental energy. I didn't understand what it was. I didn't have the skills that I talk about each week on this podcast at that point, all of which can be applied to make your life and work easier. I never had a podcaster, I didn't know what a podcast was to be fair, telling me to think smart, to protect my mental energy, and to say to me, don't worry, everything is going to be all right. And remember, our fatigue is often caused not by work, but by worry, frustration, and resentment. And that was Dale Carnegie that said that. So let me say that to you now, in fact. Don't worry, I am here to help. Everything is going to be all right. To get into this topic and help you understand what exactly it is that I'm talking about here, I'm going to ask you this, right? Have you ever been asked to do something, paid or otherwise, and replied, "I'm sorry, I don't have time"? If so, great. That's learning to say no in action, which I'll get into a little bit later. But can you think of a time when you've said, "No, I don't have time," when really you did? When you had time, but not the energy to get involved? What I suppose I'm saying is, have you ever said no and made an excuse or even apologised to someone because you were actually tired out? Or because you just wanted to watch TV? Or because you really just wanted time to yourself? When you just didn't have enough headspace to take on new things. It's not that you didn't have time to help someone, but you just didn't have the headspace. Well, that headspace is the mental energy that I'm talking about, and it is your most finite resource. Amy Morin, author of 13 Things That Mentally Strong People Don't Do, says, "Wasting brain power ruminating about things you can't control drains mental energy quickly. The more you think about problems you can't solve, the less energy you'll have left over to do more productive endeavours." Has your brain ever been so cluttered with unfinished tasks, commitments to other people, grand plans and small ones, regrets of things long past, worries about what other people think or just might think, or of letting someone down, or with wording the emails you feel you need to reply to, or shopping lists of things to buy or birthdays to remember, and really any other thing that gets stuck in your mind and won't go away, that you feel so fatigued that you just can't seem to achieve any of it? That is what happens when you don't take care of and protect your mental energy. And the end of that journey, by the way, is burnout. I quoted from Isaiah Hankel earlier as, "It's his angle on all of this that most precisely aligns with my own," and there's a lot of articles on the subject out there. For me though, the only one that I fully agree with is Isaiah Hankel, because he really doesn't pull his punches. He says that mental energy is your most valuable asset. Without it, you won't have the enthusiasm, motivation, drive and physical energy to live a full, rich life. The problem is that this asset depreciates rapidly every day. And that depreciation comes about through distraction. That's why I urge you in episode 3 to do a brain dump to prioritise. That way you get all of your thoughts and tasks and worries out of your head and onto a piece of paper or a whiteboard. It's why the first major topic of the entire series was about learning to say no. The subject of mental energy is detailed at length in Isaiah's excellent book, as I say, The Science of Intelligent Achievement, and even that title, you might notice, aligns very closely with the higher level thinking which I encourage you to adopt right from episode 1. Isaiah points out that although people carefully protect the money in their bank account and the time in their calendar, they do little to protect their attention. And attention, he says, is the gateway to your mental energy. Where your attention goes, your mental energy flows. He also quotes several scientific studies in the book stating that we only get about an hour and a half to 2 hours of peak mental energy and about 5 hours or less of near peak mental energy each day. For the rest of the day though, your mental energy levels are medium to low at best, but don't worry. The good news is that if you get a good night's sleep, your energy will replenish 100%. So, now that we know what it is and how valuable it is, I think that it's especially valuable if you regard yourself as a creative and are constantly having to come up with new things and out-of-the-box thinking and solutions, incidentally. But once you realise what it is and how valuable it is, then how do we stop it from getting away from us and get it under control? Taking back your mental energy is not a cakewalk. It's a dogfight, says Isaiah Hankel, as it depletes quickly again each and every day, and every distraction, everything on your mind will have a pull at it and tear a piece off. He also reminds us that more often than not you will discover that the direction in which your attention is flowing will be in the direction that suits someone else's objectives. That's the battle he is referring to. I go on and on and on about taking control of your own destiny, And getting control of your mental energy is a major part of that. You see, your brain hates change and it likes distraction. It wants you to stay in this comfort zone of distraction that you've created, wasting your energy on the wrong things. So it works to keep you there, but you can't let it linger. So how can we begin to save ourselves? Well, we've come about full circle pretty much, as I'm back to using the word no. If you want to protect your mental energy, you need to get back control of your life and start saying no to the things in your life that really don't matter. And saying no, as I've said before, is as much about stopping yourself from saying yes as it is about saying no itself. You don't have to say yes to anything that doesn't further your own dreams or goals or isn't in alignment with your values, no matter how it might make you feel. You really need to shake off the negative connotations of the word and realise that far from being a negative force on your life, the word no is really the most positive. When you get back a modicum of control in your life by saying no to those things that don't really matter, you will find yourself with time to consider those things that really do. Isaiah says about this, and again I'm totally in alignment with him, that you should set no as your default response. He says, start rewarding yourself for being selective. Every time you say no, you get yourself one step closer to achieving true success. Now, he also says that we can protect our mental energy further if we stop burning through our mental energy on emotional drama. And the key to doing this is to learn to walk away from energy-draining people. Now, I won't fully go into this here, as later this season I'm going to do a whole episode on it, but toxic people, energy vampires, and negative and energy-draining people in general, they grow stronger by feeding on your attention. They play the victim and create all kinds of drama to steal away your attention, and they must be avoided at all costs. We can also improve our odds by surrounding ourselves with positive people. Isaiah says, find people who energise you and keep you on track towards your goals. Then hold on to them. Unquote. Humans are naturally social people, so building relationships makes us happy and gives us energy. But spend time with people who think positively and have a lot of energy and talk in a positive tone. That'll make you think more positively yourself and give you energy. Just try not to become one of those energy vampires that I mentioned a minute ago. We can also take on activities which will increase our mental energy levels. Don't forget to allocate time to friends and family, hobbies, etc. These activities provide excitement and keep you motivated, and it might seem counterintuitive, but taking a break from work can actually help you to get more work done. And having fun stimulates your brain in a way that improves energy levels too. And I'm going to ask here, is there anything that you used to do, even as a child, that you now no longer do but wish you did? Why don't you consider doing it again? I mean, seriously, why don't you do it? By using the word no, you have created yourself some elbow room now to manoeuvre in your life, so why don't you rejoin that netball team or make a model aeroplane or go hill walking or whatever? That's all good for the soul. One other thing you could do is to try and keep your mind stimulated, but obviously not overworked. Mental challenges will give you energy, but too much will probably leave you fatigued. Try doing something like, learning a new skill to try and stimulate your mind. And there are many, many more things that you can do, like meditate or go for a walk, but my favourite, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is to declutter your mind. So do this brain dump thing that I'm talking about. Get all of your thoughts onto a blank piece of paper or a whiteboard. Just go back to episode 3 and have a listen. You'll find out all about this stuff. Declutter your mind. And then once you've got it out of there, look at what you can delegate off to others and put reminders into your phone or use an app that are going to help you so you're not trying to retain information in there. Take some notes, write it down, write thoughts or ideas you've got down, again, rather than have it stuck in your mind. And then keep a calendar so, again, you know what's coming up. You're not having to rely entirely on your brain power. Get it out of your brain and assess quickly what is vital and important in it all what is incomplete and needs to be completed, and that will give your mind a break. These incomplete tasks, by the way, will really drag you down, and some of them you'll be able to find that you can just completely eliminate. Things that you've been carrying for months or years and clogging up your brain, you'll realise just aren't important at all. To avoid making mistakes and to declutter your mind, keep as much of this stuff as you can just outside of your brain. For example, if you set a meeting with someone, put it in your calendar so that you no longer have to remember it. Keep a to-do list. Write it down. That will enable you to be more present and conscious of what you're doing in any given moment. Delegate what someone else can do for you. These are all ways which you can protect your valuable mental energy. There's something else that Isaiah points out in the book about having depleted mental energy, and I think it's the most important part of all this, for me anyway, because I recognise when it's happened to me myself. When mental energy is depleted, you see, you become more easily manipulated, and you can find yourself caught up in things that are really not in alignment with your goals. You need to be very wary of this happening to you. So try and keep a raised level of awareness in regard to what I'm talking about here, and be careful out there. Your mental energy is going to plummet throughout the day, but that's not a bad thing. It's only bad if it's being wasted on people and activities that are pivoting you away from true success. Be selective and start saving your most valuable resource, mental energy, for the best things in life, not the worst. Isaiah Hankel, unquote. Your call to action this week is to do a self-assessment, a brain dump to assess what is in there. Use the prioritising strategy from episode 3 to help you with this. And what I want you to do once it's all out there, once you've got everything out of your head, is to firstly eliminate the unimportant. Then I want you to look at what you can automate. This will be things like email responses or weekly shopping, for example. Then see what you can delegate and do it. Take action to delegate. Next, what have you got down there that you can put off until another day and deliberately procrastinate on? It's not that important right now, so you don't need it taking up brain space. Put it into a diary and deal with it another day. And that'll leave only what is important and possibly urgent, and you can concentrate on that. Move the details of your important stuff into a diary or an app and keep your brain free of this excess junk. Keep it clean and your mental energy will stay for longer. And if you've done a proper brain dump, you'll see that a lot of stuff that's been on your mind is not urgent, and some of it just isn't even important at all, and you can just let all of that go. And if worry is your problem, I'll be revisiting that topic later in the series. For now, though, remember the words of novelist Arthur Summers Roche, who wrote that worry is a thin stream of fear trickling through the mind. If encouraged, it cuts a channel into which all other thoughts are drained. So don't let worry for things that might never happen drain your most finite resource, mental energy. Thanks again for choosing to spend your valuable time here with me today. Please do spread the word about the show and help me to get more people listening. I really need people to spread the word, as there's really only me and what I can put out in social networking. So word of mouth is really, really very important. And if you're interested, obviously all previous episodes of the show are on the website at filmproproductivity.com. And I really, really do love it when I get SpeakPipe messages. I'm getting a few more of them these days. I think I've had about 5, maybe 6 now, and they're awesome. If you leave me a SpeakPipe message, which is effectively an online answering machine, you record a message in it, and I get to hear it. I can actually respond to you with an audio message back as well, and I like to do that. I've met a couple of people through the podcast doing that, and it's good fun. But if you can give me the problems that you've got, I might be able to build an episode around them. So it's a kind of win-win situation. Now, next week, I'm delving into the principle of the 4 disciplines of execution. I'll be talking about how you can have the goals and the plans, But if you don't have a clear means of executing your strategy, then you can still get stuck in the weeds. The 4DX, as it's known, will help you out of that. Until then, though, please take control of your own destiny, keep on shooting, protect that mental energy, and join me next time on Film Pro Productivity. The music that you are listening to right now is Adventures by Ehumitsu. You can view the show notes for this episode on the official website at filmproproductivity.com. Please follow the show on Twitter at FilmProProdPod or on Facebook at FilmProProductivity, or you can catch me on my personal accounts on Instagram and Twitter at fight_director. Thanks again for supporting the show by subscribing, telling people all about it, and leaving an awesome review, preferably on iTunes, which seems to be the only one that really matters in this podcasting world. See you next week.